Hi, my name is Sylwia Gorajek, and you're watching Valley Talks, talk show on real-life stories of Silicon Valley startups. Today with me is Michael Perry, founder of Kit, and we're at the awesome Shopify office in San Francisco. Kit is the virtual marketing assistant that got acquired by Shopify in 2016. And Michael, thanks so much for joining me on Valley Talks today.
I am beyond thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this for a long time and excited to have a good conversation.
For sure. We were trying to kind of schedule this for like a year, I guess. That's crazy.
This is by far been the most anticipated talk I've ever had because we have been working on this for a year. I've been wanting to come on the show. It's just been a crazy 12, 13 months. I'm happy, so thrilled we finally made it happen.
And I thought that we could be matching with glasses today. This is my first time I'm wearing glasses on my show, and I was like, at least I'm going to match Michael on this.
We would have had a good vibe. All you need to do is wear a blue shirt and blue jeans and we could have been twins. But I foolishly have forgotten my glasses at home today, so if I'm squinting, I apologize.
So it's just me.
It's just you, but you can carry the look for the two of us. You're pulling it off, so
hopefully. So this is a new office, right?
It is.
Is this especially kind of created for Kit?
Yeah, so when Shopify acquired the business back in April 2016, we were 9 people. We were in about 800 square feet, 700 square feet. It was a very small office, no conference rooms. It was not really a great operational space. So after the acquisition, we started looking at office spaces. We're now in this beautiful space here in the financial district.
Yes.
And it's both a blend of people focused on Kit, but we have a lot of Shopify core people as well here working on our app store, business development, all kinds of cool stuff. Yeah,
it's the heart of San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
It's Market and New Montgomery. Awesome location.
Yeah, the location was critical for us. We knew that people would be commuting. We wanted to be close to BART.
So acquisition of Kit to Shopify in 2016 made pretty big news.
It did, yeah.
And I definitely want to talk about how this happened, kind of a little bit behind the scenes of this. But maybe first let's explain what Kit does. And is it any different right now than what it was before it got acquired?
Well, I think it's different because it's gotten better. But in principle, the idea of what we're trying to accomplish hasn't changed. So Kit is a fully automated virtual assistant that Shopify merchants text message with or talk to over Facebook Messenger to handle all of their marketing. We also have a what we call skills ecosystem, so that developers can build other talents for Kit to kind of help merchants with their store. So we launched that business back in 2013, very early in the bot space, and got really lucky with all that. And once Shopify acquired the company, we spent some time handling some technical debt and integrating into the Shopify ecosystem a little deeper. And now we've, for the last 6 months, have gotten really back to innovating and trying to make Kit the greatest product in the world, greatest employee in the world. We started with SMS. There was no Facebook API ecosystem for bots yet, or Telegram API ecosystem for bots yet, or Skype API ecosystem for bots yet. None of these things existed. So we started with text message because back then that's how people talked. They talked back and forth over text, and we wanted for Kit to be a part of their daily life.
So it is a bot that helps merchants to market their products on Facebook, on Instagram, right? Is this the main kind of channel, or?
Yeah, so I think the one thing that we discovered, we started as a marketing tech company back in 2013, and we realized that we actually were solving the wrong problem, right? And I think that most great companies, there's a really clear identified issue, and they make a really great solution for that problem, and we just weren't solving the right problem. And so the problem actually wasn't the marketing technology itself. It's that most small business owners can't afford to hire somebody to help them with their marketing, right? They're focused on making their bags or figuring out inventory issues or whatever it is. But marketing is a challenging space. They're unfamiliar with it, and they can't hire the help they need. When we kind of changed gears in 2014, not to be a marketing tech company, but try to kind of really focus on the issue of labor that small business owners face, we really took Facebook ad tech was our first thing we tried to tackle. Could you talk to a robot to do your Facebook ad buying? And that was incredibly successful. We took something that was extremely complex, extremely time consuming, and got it down to 3 text messages. And that blossomed into, let's help them update their Facebook page. And that blossomed into, well, let's venture down and do email marketing. And then how can we help them actually thank their customers and take a different approach to the funnel and help them drive repeat business and to create customer loyalty? So we went down that road. Then we went into Instagram ads. And then we kind of reached this point where this became a very obvious journey that we could keep kind of knocking down these marketing tasks. Or we can pause for a second and build out an API that allowed for other people to help us accelerate another white space that we didn't want to kind of go into. And it's been just fascinating to watch people build relationships with Kit. Some people refer to Kit as a he.
Yeah,
Some people
or
refer to
she.
Kit as a she. They save Kit in their phone like they would a friend.
Yeah.
And so it's this weird thing to watch how people's behavioral change with software is happening in front of your eyes, and that you were a guy that got to build a company to kind of experience that transition. And I think we're approaching some incredibly exciting times ahead as we kind of shape the future of how people will shift from using software as a service to using software as a labor source.
And you're focusing on, well, right now, of course, because you're with Shopify, but even before that, you were focusing on retail.
Yes.
Not necessarily marketing like services or media or content in general.
Yeah, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that like I come from a retail background, and that's really what I'm passionate about and care about. My uncle had a brick and mortar business. My grandfather had a brick and mortar business. I worked for my father for a number of years, and I don't really know the service business that well or the needs of a small business owner that is focused around services. And so I thought we had a competitive advantage to focus on people who I really relate to, who I thought that I knew inside and out. I felt like they were a part of my family. And what could we do to kind of help keep those people in business?
So Kit wasn't really a messaging bot from the very beginning.
No.
And was this the moment when kind of, it shifted when it comes to your business? Because for a while you kind of struggled to find the market fit.
That's right.
Right?
Big time. This changed my life.
And how
changed
did
my business, changed everything, yeah.
How did you realize this? I know that for sure you were talking to your customers. Was this actually the main kind of way how you realized this is the way to go?
So a lot of it was inspired by talking to our customers, not necessarily from the idea, but what was happening was we were a small 3-person company, and we were building this web application, and Aram, my business partner, and I were basically spending our days calling small business owners, explaining to them how to use the technology.
Okay. The purpose was kind of the same.
It was the same. It was optimizing Facebook ads, helping with social posting, helping with marketing.
Right, but through a website.
Through a website. And I didn't want to become a service business. I didn't want to become a small agency or anything like that. And I was walking home, and my grandmother text messaged me. And I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. Like my grandmother, who's in her 70s, just sent me my first text message. And I'll never forget it. This is gonna sound so bizarre, but I went home, I got in my shower, after most entrepreneurs have a long day, tough day.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that text message from my grandmother just never went away in my mind.
It dawned on you.
It dawned on me, I'm like, I wonder how she learned how to text message. Because a lot of our problem was educational.
I'm not really texting with my grandparents at all.
Yeah, right? So it's like, for her, it was like fairly intuitive. There was no learning curve for her. And I kept thinking about that. And then I remembered when I first started using Twitter, it was an SMS-based product. I used to text message with Twitter over, the number was 404-44. I still do my tweeting that way, actually. And I thought, shit, I wonder if somebody could text message with Kit. And just like that, I got out of the shower, I ran to my table. My wife thought I was like being crazy. I'm like soaking wet in our living room. I'm just scribbling down all these ideas. And I literally remember telling her, like it was yesterday, I think I just thought of a really big idea.
Wow.
And it took like another month or 6 weeks for me to figure out, because at that point, I didn't know how this would all work. And I ended up going off to this little town in Northern California called Sea Ranch, and was up there for a couple days and wireframed out how I thought talking back and forth to Kit would look like. And came back, and my co-founder Mike and I shared with him the sketches, and we built Kit that way, and the interface has never changed still to this day.
Wow.
And it was just like right away, humongous success. Like day one, I remember like a weekend being like, we're pivoting our whole company. Like this is going to be the future. And it was just an incredible moment in my life.
You nailed it.
I nailed it, kind of. I don't want to say that because that sounds a bit arrogant, but
it just means it can happen too.
It can happen. I mean, mind you, we've iterated a lot, we've improved a lot, but we've stayed the core. Like the bigger thing was that for many years we were married to this problem that we were tired of seeing small businesses struggle with technology. And so we kept trying to make the technology easier, but we never thought outside the box. Like, why were they struggling with technology? We wanted to blame that the user experience was tough, or the interface was bad, or they didn't, they weren't tech savvy, or like we went on this, every time we'd find some bullshit excuse to why it wasn't working. We failed one company and we pivoted and failed another company and pivoted. And the reality was that we were just solving the wrong problem. And the second we solved the right problem, it just worked. It just worked. And there was no need to go back and ask, like, hey, do you like this? Like the numbers were just like ridiculous. Like we went from doing like, 10 Facebook ads a month to like doing a couple hundred a day.
Oh, wow.
Like it was like substantial growth in the first 31, 60 days. It made us feel extremely confident about some of the decisions we were making, but we spent a lot of time trying to find that right problem.
Yeah, I mean, it took you also, a couple
Companies, years, failures. So
for sure.
Yeah,
I wanted also to talk about that time.
Yeah.
Because this is super representative to what we all are going through when we are running our own companies, right? For how long did you actually struggle before that kind of shift? I know, like 2 years.
No, longer than
more.
that. Yeah.
But with Kit, it was.
With Kit, it was a struggle for about 18 months.
18 months, yeah.
Before that moment, but we had a company that we ran for 3 years before that, and another startup that we had for years before that. So there's this old saying that an overnight success takes 7 years, and it's been 6 years since I've quit my job full time to become a full-time entrepreneur. So next year will be year 7, where I've been focused on being an entrepreneur in my life. And it's so funny that as I've gotten older and as I've kind of moved past that chapter of like my lights being turned off and all these things like that. In that moment, it felt just so overwhelming, so hard. But like the reality is that like I desperately needed those lessons to become better at what I needed to become better at, right? I was making bad product decisions, and I was rushing the process, and I wasn't thinking cleanly, and I was maybe not always hiring the right people, and I didn't know how to fundraise, and so I got turned down 50 times. Like there's a million things that happen, but now as a result of that, I'm 10x better today than I was then. And I think that this has been very, very important for me to be aware about these things because, it took me 6 years to get lucky, but like our work is still like half of a percentage done. Like we still have a very, 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 very long road. Like we haven't had our moment in the sun yet. This is just a small sliver on a very long journey. And getting acquired certainly helped course correct that journey a little bit. Who knows what the road would have been if we didn't get acquired. But Shopify also didn't acquire us with the expectation that we were going to move to a resort, right? Like we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of things to build. So we still fail a lot, and we still are the failures come, it's a different format. Yeah, my electricity is not getting turned off anymore. But I've had some humbling moments. I've made some poor decisions. And it's just a part of being an entrepreneur. You're not going to always get it right, and you bask in the sun for maybe 30 seconds when you do, and you move on.
What actually helped you to kind of push further?
Yeah.
It was hard because your wife was the only supporter.
She was.
Did she ever actually let you kind of know that, that's enough?
I think that my wife is, at least in my life, is really kind of the unspoken hero. I look back now and I wonder like so many times like why did she not leave me, or why did she not tell me to quit, or why did she not?
She never told you to quit.
No, she never did. And I think that again there's a really fortunate circumstance that before being a full-time entrepreneur I sold cars for 7 years, and in that situation I was making a lot of money, but I was not super happy.
No.
And so as a life partner, she's seeing me grind it out, make good money, but like not loving life. And here on the flip side, I went 3 years without making a paycheck, didn't make 5 cents for a long time, and I was happier than I've ever been in my life, working harder than I'd ever worked in my life, didn't complain about the situation. And so I think that, a part of it probably she felt that like,
You're happy.
Yeah, I'm happy, we'll find a way to make it happen and we'll just keep going. But I think that we certainly had some like come to Jesus moments where it was like, hey, we may financially never be okay. Because
you never know,
you never know,
right? It's not like, okay, it will for sure happen like one more year, right?
Yeah.
You don't know, and you don't know if you're wasting your time or not.
Yeah, and a part of it too was, we used to talk about this a lot, is like I got turned down by dozens and dozens and dozens of venture capitalists. And in a lot of cases, it was the fact that I didn't fit a profile that they thought made a good entrepreneur.
Yeah, and you also mentioned in one of the previous interviews that you probably know that you couldn't sell the vision
Yeah.
well enough so that
Yeah.
they would trust
Yeah.
your belief in this. That's also what I want to ask you, because many investors also on Valley Talks say that CEOs need to perform well while
Yes.
pitching. And
Yes.
then I'm asking, but what if they are not just the greatest performers, but
Yeah.
they say they have to, because they have to be like this every day when
Yes.
they are selling the vision.
It's
So,
true.
and in your case, maybe you couldn't really sell the vision that well, but hey, you got acquired by Shopify, so
That's true. So I think that, when I was fundraising, I tried to sell it like I was selling a car and talked about the benefits of right now. And you're not going to go in trying to sell a car to talk about what the model looks like in 3 years, because then people will wait 3 years to buy that car.
Yeah.
You're trying to talk about this color that's available, this leather that's available. You're talking about the present. Venture capitalists don't want to necessarily hear about what the present is, because they're investing in that future, and with the merit that you have some good things to support it. I think for my team, we were able to accomplish so much so little, because in the walls of our tiny office, I could sell that vision. I could talk about what 2 years look like, 3 years look like, 4 years look like, 5 years look like, and that motivated them to build with me. And what lit the fire underneath them even more was that no one else was believing in that, right? So in a lot of ways, them turning me down and not having capital forced us to be resilient. It forced us to make very sound decisions, because we had to be very scrappy. We had to be ruthless in our So again, looking back, there's a million things I learned through that process that I could have fundraised better. I know for sure right now I'd have no problem fundraising, right? Like, I've learned it a little bit.
Yeah.
But if it was easy fundraising then, I actually would not probably be in this seat right now, right? Because a lot of the good decisions we made was as a result of being turned down by a lot of investors and us unwilling to give up, unwilling to go back. And so when you have very little, every decision you make, it's critical that it goes right. I guess hindsight's 2020. For anyone that's watching the show that's been turned down by 20, 30 people, you just got to dig deep and keep going and understand that at some point it'll all kind of expose itself why that's happening.
That's why we have to love what we're doing and
You do.
really have this vision, right? Because otherwise it just wouldn't be physically possible.
No.
And okay, so you found Shopify as a good partner
Great partner.
at the very beginning.
Yep.
Probably because on Shopify, just your target
Yeah.
audience and the
Yeah.
users were kind of aggregated.
Yep.
And also Etsy was your partner.
Our first partner was Etsy,
Etsy.
and then it was Shopify.
Yeah. So so did you actually manage to work together as partners before you got acquired? And
Softly, yes. So Shopify was super generous to me.
how did you actually approach them? How did the whole relationship get started?
Yeah, so the very first time I approached them was in November 2014. We had Kit working in SMS format, and I showed somebody, and I said, hey, every single merchant should have this. And they were like, yeah, no, that's not happening, right? Like, you have no traction. We're not going to just bake you into our product. And I said, okay, that makes sense. That's fair. That's kind of a big ask. But how can I work better with you? What can I do? And so I was like, build an app, be in the App Store, do all these things. And I was like, okay, I will do that. And it just kind of like, I think for me, what was really valuable is that they were transparent about like what was not going to happen. Like, no, we're not going to bake you into our product. But I still saw the platform so valuable that it was less about like me constantly asking them, what will you do for me? And me just trying to navigate, how can I maximize the opportunity? So that was like, I think a really great foundational thing is that we kind of knew each other's lane. We both wanted to solve problems for the right person. They wanted to promote me and push me, but like, it's just not going to happen like some deep technical integration off the bat. And I think that clarity set just the foundation for a good relationship.
What was the moment when either you or them thought about the acquisition, or can you just spill some beans here?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, they had reached out to me at the end of 2015 a little bit to meet with someone on their corp dev team, and me and that guy got lunch and kind of hang out. And to be honest with you, I didn't really think much of it. Like I thought, they're just kind of getting a feel for what's out there, what's going on in the world. He was in San Francisco. They were like, you guys should sync up. So it was very like soft, like very low expectation. And then the conversations kind of picked up again in early 2016. And my co-founder Mike and I flew to Ottawa and met with Craig, who's the chief product officer, and Toby, who's the CEO. and a couple other people on the executive team, and just had like a really good day of talking about what could the future look like if this was not just you're an app on our platform, but you're actually part of the Shopify family. Like what would it look like to help a small business owner not only open a store in a couple minutes, but also give them their very first employee in a couple minutes. And that future it was just too bright to kind of ignore, right? Like there's no one out there in the world like Shopify, and there's no product in the world like Kit. And what kind of superpower could we have if we came together to help small business owners find more success? And I just remember getting on the plane, and still, the likelihood of getting acquired is so small. It's like, I read some crazy statistic. It's like 0.00137%.
For a startup to get acquired?
Yeah, it's so small, right? And so my expectations were always very low because I look at acquisitions as distractions. I just wanted to build a big business. And I remember getting on the plane and flying home from Ottawa being like, wow, this would be really exciting if something like this happened. And 60 days later, the deal had gone through. And
60 days.
Yeah, we were 61 days. We were a part of the Shopify family. So it's been again just like it's really hard for me to put into words how lucky I feel. I really feel incredibly grateful. That not just that I got acquired, but that I have a really good relationship with them.
Well,
and
yes.
that they continue to let me do things. And more importantly, like I care deeply about small business owners, and everyone from Toby, our CEO, down to the person who we're hiring today, oddly has the same obsession for it. Like it's not artificial. It's just a very real passion. And it makes like my happiness and my team's happiness very real that we can kind of do this together. And I just feel really lucky. You talk to so many founders, like these kind of relationships are unheard of.
Unheard of. And actually, when it comes to acquisitions themselves, what's often the case is that they either want the product and pretty much really kill the product, or they want the team, but they
right.
totally do want to influence how to grow this. And Shopify is not a small company. It's not a startup at all.
It's publicly traded. It's 2,500 people, and so
a big corporation. So
like my sister's boyfriend is a founder as well, and we just talk about all the time just the rarity that they're allowing me to go down this road.
You mentioned earlier that also you had other offers to get acquired.
Yeah.
So I guess this all happened when it all speeded up with the bot.
Yep.
And so was this also happening in the time when Shopify was talking to you, or was this kind of earlier? Did you have a choice between several companies?
We had a couple of different companies throughout like maybe a 4-month window, very, very interested in us.
Yeah, and could you share some experience of how the conversations were going, so that people in our audience who are maybe also starting to have similar offers, then can gain from your conclusions kind of what to be aware of or what to kind of avoid.
So I mean, for me it was like quite simple. I had the longest standing relationship with Shopify. I didn't want to go work on enterprise technology. I didn't want to work on mid-level technology. I want to work for small business owners. I want to be a servant to small business owners. And so, I mean, as an entrepreneur, you have an obligation to your stakeholders, your investors, your team, to listen to other offers, but you also have an obligation to make sure that you do what's best for your business, right? And so, part of doing what's best for your business is understanding, not just in terms of the return, but like what is the potential impact that you're missing out on. And so, when you kind of take all those pieces into the pie of like, where's my team going to be happiest? Where do we have the most opportunity? Sure, you have to take in consideration, the return on the investment for your investors and all those things. But when you formulated it all, for me, there was a clear-cut winner, a clear-cut place where I wanted my company to be at, and also a place where I believe that if anything ever happened to me and I ever stepped down, it would still succeed and survive and blossom and be everything that it could be. And there's only one company that would be possible, and that's Shopify. And so I really kind of honed in on trying to, by any means necessary, make that deal happen with them, because that's the outcome that I wanted to see happen. So
it's been a year since you've been within Shopify, and I'm sure you've been working on some amazing features for Kit, and where is it going right now? Yeah, so like I said a little bit earlier, like we've been now really heads down on the innovation aspect. So we've obviously been spending most of our time over these past couple of years working on how can Kit help you with your marketing. Now we're kind of starting to broaden that lens a little bit
and seeing how can Kit help you with your business, how can Kit help you set up your store. So there's a lot of things that are coming down the pipe, both in terms of making Kit smarter, making Kit far more conversational, creating a better working environment for Kit. But really, the thing that I'm most excited about is the capabilities that we're bringing into Kit and how much more Kit's going to be able to do for a small business owner to help them have success. And again, it would not be possible without both the resources of Shopify, but a part of being inside the Shopify umbrella is having APIs and things that we wouldn't have had access to as just a developer. So the vision now gets to become the reality.
Awesome, Michael. It's been such an exciting talk and so many fantastic insights for our audience, I'm sure.
Thank you so much for having me.